So the home is over there.
We became a state historic site in 1967.
67?
Boy, it's been a historic site for a long time.
And, but then later they changed the doors and put windows in there. So it has windows in it instead of a door.
Huh.
So it used to have a carriage house.
Well, you said carriage porch.
Carriage porch.
That shed there on the side of the original 6-4 outhouse. It's kind of fancy.
You gotta have one of those.
So the back one, they kept the feed. No driveway. We're just walking across the lawn. It's kind of cool. We're gonna go to the front porch. We're crunching on the ice. Whoa, that's kind of a cool photo. Here goes. I love front porches like this. I just want to sit down in the rocker. Want to sit down with me? Like we were here in the 1800s. Ah, very straight backed.
I like it. That's comfortable.
Yeah. That is a grand entrance. Wow. Wow. I love it.
It'd be kind of dark in here. We don't use electricity except for heating and cooling and vacuuming. We try to keep everything period, that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Around 1860.
I love it. 1860.
Yes, ma'am.
Another door.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I love it. All original.
And what you're standing on is not, you think it's linoleum, but it's not. It's called floor cloth. It's canvas material, and they paint it and put shellac, several coats of
Oh,
varnish.
wow,
and
yeah.
shellac over it. This was right before linoleum came out. They used these floor cloths.
Because it feels like vinyl.
It looked like vinyl, but it's not. A lady made this probably 15 years ago, and it's held up all these years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very
I
durable,
love
I
it.
think, yeah.
Can't believe it's material.
Yeah, it's just regular like canvas material.
And they put a paint over it.
Painted
Yes, ma'am,
seal,
painted.
basically
Kind of
seal.
like a polyurethane.
Yeah, I coat it with like, well, shellac or varnish, clear
Yeah.
varnish or whatever.
Hmm.
I like this, fall tree.
Mhm. That's an umbrella and hat tree. And,
That's neat. Man's walking, see, man's walking.
Be the people that lived here.
these chairs match the hat tree.
Beautiful piece.
Oh, neat.
They open up like the ladies when they put their scarves in when they come in,
Oh,
like
nice.
Like a desk chair almost.
so they can open that up.
Reminds me of a school desk.
Well, these aren't the owners, but he plays an important part in this house. This is Robert Goa Watson, and he's called the father of New Madrid.
Oh,
And there's a picture, another portrait of him down in the courthouse.
and that's his wife.
Jane. Yeah, I think that's his second wife, Jane. Anyway, Robert Goa came out of Scotland, and he came to New Madrid in 1805. And he was a businessman. He ran a mercantile store, or I guess you would say back in, more like a trading post back in that time period.
Right.
And he worked with land, and sell kind of helping people get land and so forth like that. When we had the bad earthquakes in 1811, 1812,
Yes.
Right?
he is one of the businessmen that stayed around and helped get New Madrid back on its feet. So he played an important part. And then his daughter, Amanda, William Hunter, who's actually the owner of the house, and Amanda Hunter, his daughter, that's where William met his daughter in his mercantile store.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why he plays kind of important part.
So she lived in this house and had photos of her parents on the wall.
So
Portraits.
anyway, that's how he plays an important part in the 100 Dawson home. If you want to, we start here in the regular pictures.
The living room.
And this is like their everyday living room.
This is a huge door.
Right. These are the original pocket doors here.
Wow.
10-foot pocket doors.
Yeah.
Huge.
It is.
And they work, we keep them closed unless we have a real big tour.
I love the sitting area
We
furniture.
have riverboat tours. The riverboats stop during the summer.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of the riverboat tours.
And this is how I'm a big tea person, so this is how they would have tea.
There's 3 different, throughout the house, there's 3 different styles of furniture. And what's unusual about this house is 80% of the furniture is original to the house.
That is unique.
That's awesome.
This is the Empire, they call it the Empire piece. And all the books are original, goes back to the 1800s inside.
Oh, wow.
And this little set here is East Slate, they call it, because it has like the leaf pattern carvings on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is Amanda Hunter's original desk where she would sit and pay bills or whatever. They were, William and Amanda were business people more than they were farmers. Even though they did raise some crops, potatoes and corn and so forth. Of course, cotton wasn't around yet. They were slave owners, so they had 36 slaves.
Oh, wow. So they had probably
Oh, wow.
100 acres, I guess.
Yeah, they had several, quite a few acres. In fact, William had acquired, and he went down through, before he met Amanda, went down through Texas and Arkansas, and he acquired 15,000 acres.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, he was a young businessman. And
Says
they
old
would be like millionaires today.
gem roller organ.
Yes, ma'am.
It's-
It doesn't.
So it played music.
Yeah, it needs some work, but we just leave it like it is.
I
Give
like
it,
this little bit.
well, it doesn't even. It used to make a sound. There it goes. You can change these out like a player piano
Yeah.
for different melodies,
Right.
songs on it.
That's cool.
And the kids played a lot of dominoes back then, so this and so forth. The carpet you see on the floor, we have records where Amanda actually ordered wall-to-wall carpeting. It came from England.
Wow.
Now this is not the original, but this carpet came from the original looms
Oh.
from England. So she did have wall-to-wall carpeting. They call, if you look at this, faux marble finish.
Oh,
So this
yeah.
is an original to the house too.
Right, yeah, they did like a faux marble.
9 firehouses,
9
fireplaces.
What is called faux graining. And that was a technique they used to decorate the plain wood, kind of bring it out. So and Matt, the guy you met over in the office, he did a lot of the faux graining.
Neat.
You
Oh,
know,
wow.
so
Really
see a lot of
cool.
that throughout the house.
I love the woodwork.
Yeah, they did. Like I said, they were pretty wealthy people, so they could afford to have.
And so you have to have money to do this.
Have fancier furniture and molding and so forth. But all the new part of this house we're in now is built out of yellow cypress.
Oh, nice.
So that's one reason why it's still here, because yellow cypress lasts and lasts and lasts. And so forth.
So this comes up to make a bigger table. I love that.
Right. They were, William was a businessman. He had a sawmill, he had a grist mill, he had his own mercantile store. Plus they did raise some crops and he dealt with land. So they were wealthy people and business people. These chandeliers were originally designed to be pulled down. And then you could take the globes off and fill it with oil, light it, and ease back up.
Ah.
But they don't, and they don't function that way. There's got them hanging on a hook right now. The medallion you see up there,
It's like the one I
we had one original medallion left, and we've taken molds off it. So you see some of the medallions in some of the other rooms.
Yeah,
from the
there's
original-
one in
from
the
the
foyer
original
when we
one.
came in.
Right. Original.
Yeah.
Now in the wintertime when the fireplace was here, whoever's sitting here and it got real hot, they could take this over here.
And they're blocking.
And they could adjust it up and down, keep the heat, block
Right.
the heat off of it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty neat.
But in the summertime, they had more of a decorative, kind of cover up the fireplace a little bit.
And it looks hand sewn.
Yes, ma'am.
Fire screen. I would have
Fire-
never
fire
known
screen.
that was that what that was.
Yes, ma'am. If you have any questions as you go along, ask me, I'll try to answer. And his daughter,
What's your name?
Ella.
Ella, that's what I said.
Amanda's daughter. And somebody's in here.
That's a niece, I can't remember her name. It's
Yeah.
one of the nieces.
Formal dining room. Whoa. Nice.
Yeah, this is a formal dining room. They wouldn't use this all the time. They would keep it closed off.
Seats 12.
Special occasions, birthdays, weddings, so forth like that. The table's original. All the chairs original except for these three here. These are not original. The ones that have a point are all original.
They're really deep.
All original. They sit down. People say they seem like they sit low, but you know people were a little shorter back then. It's not similar pattern back then.
Wedgwood.
Dinner
Plates.
Plates, right. And
Are these original? Because they're autographed.
no.
They have an
When the
H on
family
them.
moved, they took a lot of some of the family moved, took a lot of this, a lot of the silverware with them. and so forth. This is what they put the salt on. You see the little spoons?
Oh,
They would take that, put the salt on there.
I didn't even see that. How cute is that?
And the painting up here on the fireplace is original. It was done by Sydney, which was Amanda's sister.
Oh.
And since Robert, their father, came out of Scotland, people have said it reminds them of the Scotland area, Scotland, maybe Loch Ness or over there.
So it
But
looks like a
It dates
castle.
back to the 1840s,
Wow.
middle 1800s.
This is neat. The chandelier on the candelabra is pretty cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Women see these kind of things.
Well, Amanda moved in 1860. She ordered $1,600 worth of furniture.
Which was a lot back
In
then.
today's market, it would be way up there. Maybe, I don't know, 80,000, somewhere along there, maybe. Today's, because it was top-end furniture.
Solid rosewood.
And this is called a whatnot, but the French term for it is an étagère.
Ah,
But it's, we call it a whatnot in American terms.
I love it with you said the thick marble
Right.
tops.
Solid rosewood.
Cool. Well, we say whatnot stand,
Yeah.
I guess.
I point these two pieces out. These are celery jars now.
Celery jars?
Yeah, celery was very rare around here at that time. They could afford to have celery brought in, and they would keep the water and celery in here, which was kind of a luxury item.
Wow.
Celery back in that time. The wallpaper is from patterns from that time period, and it really brightened up the room. And all the draperies are new, and they were custom made, and that's from designs from that time period also.
And this was another one that came down
Yes,
to
ma'am.
light it,
Yes, ma'am.
but it's fixed
A
now.
little fancier one, right?
Very cool. Super cool. And then this goes into the informal dining room down there.
We'll go back. Clean rooms are called breezeways.
Breezeway.
When they'd open up the windows,
Mhm.
it would help circulate and bring the air through, so it helped. And Vicky and Matt made this little floor cloth. They made this one.
I like the floor cloths.
Yes, yep, down there. And this is the old part of the house.
The everyday dining room.
Like this goes back, like I said, 1840.
Oh, wow. Like this is original floor to the...
Right. They bought this original house from a Frenchman, and this old house part is done in what they call French colonial style.
Oh.
And this used to be the front of the house. It faced east. And there's a long bottom porch, and we have a long porch upstairs. And then when they built the new part, they changed the front to face south.
New part that way.
Right. Over here, this is William Dawson, and this is Ella Hunter. So when she married, and they were married, it became the Hunter Dawson home.
Gotcha.
In 1874, they were married.
It's hard to get them. I got a glare.
Right, it's hard on glass.
I'm just trying to get the right. They're much older in these photos.
Yes, ma'am.
There we
Most
go.
of the, see most of the portraits throughout the house. They don't.
I love this
They don't
wallpaper.
really, you don't see much smile. They don't
Right,
smile
yeah.
very much.
Well, they had to hold their expression for a long time.
And the young gentleman over here is William and Amanda had 9 children. And 2 died. And so when Amanda moved in 1860, she moved in the house with 7 children from 9 months to 22 years of age. And this is the 4th son. This is Richard.
William and who?
William and Amanda Hunter are the owners of the house.
Those two
And this
over
is-
there.
Well, that's William and William Fields and Ella Hunter, and the site became a Hunter Dawson home. But Ella was Amanda's daughter.
Oh, okay. So this is Amanda's son.
Right.
Okay. And William, his name?
There were a lot of William was a common name back then. So William Hunter was the owner of the house, and that's William Fields over there.
Gotcha.
Or William Dawson, I'm sorry. So, and Ella Hunter, so it became a Hunter Dawson home in 1870. This, like I said, the everyday dining room. This has leaves it would pull out, get some more chairs in for the family. But they had an outdoor kitchen back in that time period, so they would eat a lot of the meals in the summer outside because it'd be so hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is one of the oldest pieces in the house. This is a side cart they call it. It's done out of the kind of walnut type wood, burl wood.
Looks huge and heavy.
It's a very heavy piece, right? It dates back to the middle 1800s. It supposedly belonged to Amanda's mother. So it's one of the oldest pieces in the house.
Wow.
And it was a common type clock you'd see on a lot of the mantles in that time period. They called it a gingerbread clock because the molding resembles gingerbread kind of
Huh.
cookies. Right? So
Interesting.
it runs a little bit, but it's not very good. So we have several clocks that need for repair, but we haven't. This is part of the stairway.
Is that's why it's rounded like that.
The stairway's outside.
For the new part, you'd have to go out, come up the stairs. It's kind of highlights that's the way it was built. We have an engraving. It's hard to see. April 11th, 1873.
Where?
Right here.
Glass.
In
See
the
it
glass.
there?
Oh, I see.
That is the year that William and Ella were engaged. That is their engagement.
There it is. I see it. Huh.
So we think Ella might have used her diamond ring or so forth to engrave that on her engagement date.
1873 in the
Right.
window itself, so you know that's a period
It's,
window.
Held up all these years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, we'll go into the kitchen.
Kitchen.
Now, throughout the years, of course, had been remodeled as the years went by, but we became a state historic site in 1967. It was researched and everything put back to its original state. So this is when Amanda moved in with her 7 children in 1860. This is what the kitchen looked like. This is not the original stove, but it is a stove from that time period. It's a wood burning stove. The irons, whoever was doing the ironing, when one iron cooled off, they would take the handle off it and
Oh, that's cool.
just pop it on the other one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, sir. Sometimes I can get it, sometimes never get it. But don't want to cooperate sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is a fluter.
What's a fluger?
Fluter. This is what they press the sleeves, ruffles in the sleeves and the collars on the ladies' dresses. They would use this.
Oh, so another ironing thing.
Another ironing thing.
What's under here?
That's where the wood and so forth.
We'll go in there.
Right. You could, and this was a cooling, warming area for the food.
Ah,
They could put the food up here and keep it warm until they serve.
what do they put in there? That's long.
This is looks like almost like a cornbread.
That's
type
what I was wondering.
deal.
That's what came to my mind was the cornbread.
Now we have 3 original pieces to the kitchen. This is a pie safe. It's original.
Passe?
Pie safe.
Oh, pie safe.
Yes, ma'am. What's different about this pie safe is they use screening on the doors. And screening wasn't seen around here very much. Like I said, they were a affluent family, so they could afford to have screening brought in. And it helped keep cool and also keep the insects out of the pies and so forth they put in. The coffee grinder here, this is original piece to the kitchen. And the old butter churn there in the corner is original.
Coffee grinder.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And then the butter churn.
Butter churn, right.
Yeah.
When the butter was ready and they could put it in these molds and then they would stamp it. And then like this is a leaf pattern, leave a little design on top of the butter pads.
Yeah, cool.
And this is
They did lots of things to make little things
This is a swan,
special, you know?
all right. And this is the baby.
Oh, I like the
tiny,
baby one.
tiny. Let me get it right here. Tiny little flower.
Oh, I like that one. Huh. But they had to have molds for their butter.
Right. This is a dry sink where they do their dishes, and they use copper to line it with. Of course, copper lasts forever and ever. And so this is where they do the dishes. This is an early pot scrubber, so they clean pots,
Huh.
stuff off the pots.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So forth. And this is an insect catcher. They would use it to catch insects. They would put something sweet inside.
Mm-hmm.
The flies.
Grab all the honey or something.
Flies will get in there and they couldn't get out, and then they could take them outside and dispose of them and so forth.
I mean, we probably need some of these techniques and tools nowadays. We try to make things better when they were probably good enough back then.
Big old chopping block where they chop the meat.
Oh,
So
wow.
forth up here
Well, so
till it's been used. quite a
was
bit.
probably really fresh meat.
Yes.
and-
that's right.
That's why you needed something special to cut it
Over
on.
here is where they'd mix like breakfast or cakes and so forth. This is a cabbage slicer here.
A what slicer?
Cabbage.
Cabbage
Put
slicer.
a head of cabbage in here
Yeah.
and just slice it on down.
Oh, but I bet you could put other vegetables in
You
there.
could probably,
It's like a mandolin.
not cheese, because cheese would hang it and stop up the
Right.
blades.
This is like a cookie cutter.
Right. Instead of
Oh,
having
wow, I love it.
Instead of having 5 or 6 different cookie cutters, they
Right.
have them all in one, and they could choose whichever one they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
use. And this is could we use to slice apples in the middle,
Oh.
or cheese, make wedges.
And what's wrong with that now? Why don't they make them like that now?
I don't know.
You know, it makes sense.
Of course, there's a little tiny scoop and a little funnel. You can see kind of some of the original.
Yeah,
old
I
glass
do. I
pieces,
see.
Kind of wavy,
Uh-huh.
so forth like that. You can see if you live right through there, if you can look around, that's the outhouse right
Oh, I
there.
see it. Yeah.
It's a 6-holder outhouse. It had 3 holes on one side, 3 on the other, and they had a wall in between. for
So
the
6
men and
people
women.
could go at the same time.
Right. Then one little area was short for the kids, and
Uh-huh.
you have another one for the adults. 3 on one side. Measuring bucket.
Measuring
They would
bucket.
use.
To
This,
measure what?
flour, cornmeal out of the barrels.
Oh, okay.
This is a peck. 4
What's in
pecks.
that peck?
4
I've heard of
pecks in
that.
a bushel.
Yeah.
Now, if they wanted to peck a cornmeal or flour, they could use this side, and then if they wanted a half peck, they'd flip it over and use this side. So it's pretty simple.
So would a half peck be a cake, or that looks like a lot of flour for cake?
Yeah, cookies.
Maybe if you're
Make different things.
selling it.
All right. Any questions you'd like to ask? This, of course, like I said, they keep the flour and meal in these little barrels. This is, they call it the outhouse clock, actually.
The outhouse clock.
It has mirrors inside to help brighten the light up, but they can use it throughout the house too. But if they need to go outside to the outhouse, they could take this with them.
Right.
Yeah.
But when we get to the bedrooms, you'll see what they call chamber pots underneath the bed.
Yeah.
That they use.
Yeah, familiar.
All that it feels. They built stuff to last back in the day. Step down, so watch your step.
Going into the back quarters. Outside.
Get a better idea of what the original old house looked like.
Yeah, these are the stairs you talked about. They're still there.
Where the kids or some of the slaves could enter through the back here. So this is the front. It used to be the front. Like I said, there's another porch down below it. So it'll face east, original porch. We'll go into this first room here.
I could sit on that deck for a while. Oh, it's tiny.
Well, our heating and cooling is here, so it'll be bigger when it is. That's where we keep our heating and cooling systems up here, upstairs here. This is Phyllis's room. Phyllis was the live-in slave nanny. She took care of the kids and maybe cooked, and so she would have her own room. And she's listed in 18 census. And Amanda, I guess, thought a lot of her because they let her use her last maiden name, which is Watson. So she's listed as Phyllis Watson. She's only one of the slaves that's mentioned in the census.
Huh.
And so forth.
Lumpy bed.
Yeah, just a plain rope.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it'd be too comfortable.
No.
And then a simple,
But better than the floor.
right, simple chamber pot.
Yep.
This is a boys' room. As the boys got older, they would be moved back here.
Ah.
Original beds.
Wow.
Original trunk. Again, this is you saw the East Lake set down there. This is East Lake because it has the carving.
East Lake.
Right. And here's the matching dresser over here that matches it.
Because of those carvings up there.
Right, that's how you can tell the East Lake. Now this secretariat is not original. Vicki and Matt bought it several years ago, but it is from that time period, or solid oak. And in every bedroom, you see in every bedroom there's a washer, bowl, and pitcher, because they wouldn't take a full bath every day. They would just kind of a cloth bath during the week, and then on weekends they would take a fuller bath, like Saturday night before church or so forth. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
The beds are original, like I said.
Yeah, there's your chamber
This is
pot
the-
again.
Right, this is a little bitty wood stove. It is not original, but it is from that time period again.
Well, that would be enough for this room.
And this is bed warmer.
Ah, yeah.
Put the coals in and just rub it across and get the bed kind of warm before they crawl into bed.
Now the wood goes in front, I guess. It goes in there.
Yes, ma'am. They check on it here, see how it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you needed to put more wood in it, and you could cook on it.
Wow.
Okay.
I love the view of the open area.
Yes, ma'am. Our land goes down. You can look through the trees and see the White House down there.
What? Yeah, vaguely, like
That's part of the.
right in there.
That's part of the historic land, and Matt lives there.
Ah.
Guy, he lives in the house, state-owned house.
I wonder if that used to be like an orchard, apple orchard or
And
something.
so forth, yes.
Yeah.
This is just a storage room where we keep things that need to be refurbished.
But it used to be like a slave quarter or something.
Before the new part was built, it might have even been a bedroom, you know. Back then.
Right.
This is a simple washroom.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing fancy about it.
I love that.
Small wash tub. It would be ideal for small kids. Now, as adults, you see a lot of the movies, the older movies, where people would actually, the adult people could stand up in it and have the water poured over them. So this could be moved into the boys' room or down in the kitchen where it'd be warmer during the winter. So it's made out of tin. It's not too heavy.
And they'd have to heat the water somewhere and bring it up here.
On the stove or whatever, right?
Right.
Of course, the old straight razor and some of the early soap.
Castile soap.
Right.
Yeah. Or they could come in here and just do a quick wash.
Quick wash, yes, ma'am. And notice how the floor kind of
Goes down.
down pretty good here.
It does. Is that, I guess, so the water could run
Water
off?
drainage and so forth.
I mean, you got to empty the tub.
Right, but they would have probably this. Like I said, they were slave owners, so they'd probably have a couple of them take it out and dump it, you know, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna go up these stairs.
Yeah, that's cool view. I like that.
Okay, we'll go to your right here. This is the girls' room. The carpet in here goes back to 1800s, so we ask people not to step on the carpet.
Don't step on the carpet. Wow.
Like I said, this is a girls' room, like the Punch and Judy tea set and some of the type of little cloth dolls, simple little cloth dolls they could play with back in that time period. Rocking horse. This is not original. It was donated from another old mansion to the house, but it's from that time period. Old rocking horse. Original beds, dresser. Original trunk. This is one of the simple toys the kids could use.
I know what that is.
I'm not any good at it, so I wouldn't.
I'm not either, probably anymore.
I think they had versions of that when I was little.
Yeah, I don't even attempt to. Sometimes we have tours and small kids that come in right off the bat.
Can do it right away.
This is potty chair.
Oh,
That's it.
Goodness.
I know what
This
that
is
is.
some early toilet paper before their toilet rolls came out.
medicated paper.
Boston, Massachusetts.
Ah, see.
And of course the potty chair.
Oh, how fun. I like that they're much smaller nowadays.
Yeah.
Take up much less room.
And another pitcher and bowl.
I love that one. That one's,
Right.
love the teal color of that one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And they didn't use a lot of closets back in that time period. They'd use the chaperone wardrobe.
Right.
So you see these in the bedrooms, sort of clothing and so forth.
So we have a doorway that goes into the next one here. What's this door?
This one,
Is it go 2 doors to go through?
no ma'am. This is, right now it's used for heating, part of our heating and cooling go through here. So we have to get in there to service it, so.
It might not have been in there back then.
It might not have been there, but they had to match the other.
Right.
So we'll go, bedroom.
Amanda's bedroom. Yeah, it is very dark.
See if I open these curtains a little bit and get it to.
Yeah, that helps.
That helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, you'll see the carpet. I call it the rooster pattern because it can remind me of a rooster tail.
Yeah, it does.
You can see what the carpet was put together in 27-inch strips. You can actually see the seams in this pattern where you couldn't downstairs.
Right.
And they came, like I said, came from England. And this is a reproduction, but came off the same looms. William Hunter died before he got to move into the house.
That's sad.
1859, he died of yellow fever. So he never did get to move into the house. He did buy this baby cradle before he died, and Amanda brought this in with her. And they had a 9-month-old baby at the time. The ages from 9 months to 22 years of age, so they wide range in ages.
Wow.
Again, the original bed, original dresser, the mirror. Mirror is kind of interesting. See your full self in the mirror. You're standing
I like
back,
that, yeah.
Standing back from it or up close, still see your full self.
Well, that's interesting.
This is Amanda's chair that she brought with her when she moved in the house. So this dates back older than some of the other pieces, and it's done in, it hasn't been redone. It's not in its original state.
Wow.
Fancier chamber pots. This is a small one. When it was full, they would empty it into the larger one over here, and then they would have it taken outside and dumped. Okay.
I love it.
This is a sewing room.
Wow. Look at that.
Windows.
Yeah, that window.
Window lifts up and you walk out onto the.
Oh man. See, that's I'd love to live in a house like that and do that.
Yeah. Originally, back in the Victorian time, they would grow indoor plants. So this room was originally set up like a planetarium, whatever you call it, solarium, where they could grow house plants. And it was later changed over, so it's set up as a sewing room. This is Ella, Amanda's Hunter's daughter's sewing machine. This is 1900 sewing machine. Dates back to the 1900s.
Seen this type of thing before.
And
That's
here is Amanda Hunter's sewing machine. It's entirely different. You wouldn't think it was a sewing machine.
No,
But it
now I've
is.
not seen anything like that.
Yes.
That's a sewing machine.
Yes, ma'am. It would hand crank it, or you could add like a belt on it and have another deal down here to.
Yeah, so the
Operating
material
foot.
goes here.
Yes, ma'am. And this is just some
Thread goes here. Well, there it looks like you got two places for thread.
sewing accessories could be kept here.
That's right.
Now the women wore these hoop skirts.
I love it. I want to wear
They
one.
wore a lot of clothing back then. The women did. The pantaloons.
Yeah?
Original pantaloons. Then I guess you could say this is like the petticoat. And
Neat.
then you'd have your hoop. And
Oh
then
my
you'd
goodness.
have the skirt kind of over that, protecting.
Can't imagine sitting down with the hoop.
And then they'd have the regular dress over all this.
Right.
And so they wore a lot of clothing. And
Cool.
you can see the pictures, some of the pictures.
Right.
Yeah, actually, we have tours come through. We had a candlelight tour Christmas time.
Oh, that'd be neat.
And one of the ladies that was dressed up in pretty clothes, she was really short. And so when she had on one of those hoop skirts, she looked like she was sitting down even though she was standing
Oh,
up.
funny. Cute. Guest bedroom.
See if I can get it on.
Well, that's a well taken care of guest.
Yeah, they wanted their guests to be as comfortable as they were, because back in that time, the guests had to probably travel a long period.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of staying like one day or so, they may stay days on end, or they may stay a month or two, so they wanted to be as comfortable as they were. Again, original furniture.
Training
original,
pot.
Original canopy bed, another
I know, I love the canopy.
trunk, the rosette pattern.
Yeah,
The spring
super cool.
spring system is very unique. We're the only one around that has this
Oh, goodness.
spring set, individual springs.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have to keep this nice and neat, or Vicky will be on me.
Yeah, I think, I guess I'd make it much more comfortable.
Yes, ma'am. Another shift robe. I'll show you some of the, when we dress up with the river boats, this is like what some of the ladies may wear, you know.
I love it.
Tight.
I love it. I want to dress up like that.
Back then, they didn't wear short sleeves. They were modest people. They wore long sleeves. Even the men wore long sleeves.
It also protected you from the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's another one.
Neat. I love the collar and the simple pattern on it.
Looks almost like a Mormon type of what a lady would wear, or Mennonite, or something like that. Back in there.
Fireplace.
Yes, ma'am. Here's a tree frog. They would wore boots, put their one foot on back, and then they could put their heel in here and pull their boot off.
Ah,
So instead of somebody having to pull it off for them.
but it's called a tree frog
Tree frog.
instead of a boot frog.
Boot frog, tree frog, yes, ma'am. Again, another.
I know, I
place
always love them.
for that wash up and so
I
forth.
love the patterns on these things. Another bedroom.
This would be the oldest daughter's room, Amelia. Amelia lived in the house to her late 20s. She was almost considered an old maid before she ever got married back in that time. Original bed, again, the green rosette pattern. Original trunk.
Okay.
Another little fancier chamber pot here.
And there's that framing again with
Yes, ma'am.
the rope on the crown molding so it can be slid. That's a cool idea, I like that.
This is the way, if you go into some of the art galleries, this is the way they hang some of their paintings and so forth. Similar to this. And over here would be Amelia's, where she could do some sewing or write her letters, memoirs, and so forth. There's a little inkwell there. And
Neat.
little basket which can catch her.
Underneath.
Over here, this is interesting. This is called a hair retainer. Now, when ladies wore long hair back then, they would keep it up during the day. So at night, when they was combing their long hair out, they would save the hair. And they would use it to puff up their hair, or the buns.
Oh, really?
They would save the hair. That's
Huh.
what this was used for.
And use it to puff up the buns.
Right.
I thought you were going to say something like, put it in the garden to scare off the rabbits.
Of course, the old hair pins, hat pins.
Yeah.
And this is a finger nail buffer,
Nail. Yeah.
nail buffer,
Cool.
and so forth.
These are cool. I've got an old one. That was my great grandma's.
Yes, ma'am.
Very similar to that.
Oh, well, we'll go downstairs to the final room. Pretty handsome young man.
Another picture of Richard from the dining room photo. Yeah.
Okay, this is the formal parlor.
Ooh, red. Wow.
Now, they wouldn't use this all the time, so they would keep it closed off. Parties, different types of events. They even had a few funerals in here. The two mirrors, one opposite each other. Amanda purchased those. I paid $100 a piece for these mirrors.
Which was a lot back then.
It's amazing how well they've held up over the years. The portrait here. This is Amanda Hunter, owner of the house. And this is, again, Richard when he was small.
Yeah.
Now it's interesting how small children back in those days wore the little gown dresses.
Right.
How could you tell the boys from the girls?
Right.
Is the way they parted their hair. Richard has his parted on both sides, or he can have it parted on one side. And the ladies and the girls will part their hair down the middle. So that's how you can tell the boys and girls if they wore these small gowns.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Right.
My grandpa was dressed in a gown like that.
Yeah. Again, the faux marble
Right.
technique. And this is their I call it their entertainment area. Serve the liquor. And
Right.
so forth like that. These strips of paper were used to light the fireplaces instead of matches. It might burn your fingers. They would light this where it'd have a longer time
Interesting.
to light the candles and
Right.
firewood in the fireplaces and so forth.
Those chairs are little.
Small, yes, ma'am. Sit way down. This is a turtle table, they call it.
Turtle table.
Turtle table.
Like cards over here.
Yes, ma'am. You notice what's different about the playing cards? No numbers on them.
Oh, no.
They could use these too for the kids as a learning instead of seeing the 8 or clubs or so forth. They'd have to count.
Right.
So make them count and learn their numbers and so forth. Pretty interesting. All the molding above the gold is not wood. That is all metal there.
Wow, it's heavy to be up there.
Balance, curtain balance.
Right.
Separate to themselves, and the men, they can close these pocket doors.
Right.
Men can be on one side, women can be on the other.
So the men could smoke and cuss and
Right,
play
and
cards.
ladies could talk or whatever, you know. This is a square piano. Call it a square piano.
Oh, cool.
This was right before the upright piano came out. They used these, and they used this instead of a baby grand because the baby grand would take up too much space out in the room. So they would use this square piano. It needs some work, some of the keys stick and so forth. Like so. So we have it, we just leave it like it is. It's hard to even find people that tune pianos anymore. Around here anyway it is. We keep it like it is.
Cool.
The cabinet over there is where they keep the sheet music.
Reminds me of a harpsichord.
Sheet music goes in here.
This one. See if I can.
And we have that marble top again.
These are the hardest little doors.
I like the fabric in there. Oh, I see.
This is one of the. This is the Olympic polka. And on the back you'll have the
Music.
music to it. Yeah.
Neat.
It's kind of cool, I think.
Very cool. I mean, even the chair is fancy. The stool for the,
Right, that's right.
and then we have
The
a sitting
furniture is
area.
furniture is really not very comfortable. So, on these, it would be very comfortable. But it's
Well, I don't think you were meant to sit
truly
very
decorative,
long.
decorative. The gentleman in the portrait is William Hunter, Amanda's husband.
Okay.
He died in 1859 of yellow fever, so he got to never move into the house with Amanda. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, that is
He
sad.
was a young businessman, so he would dress up more than the ordinary man back in that time.
And more normal serving entertainment table.
Right, and the oil lamps. These little dogs are common, mountain dogs. Vicky bought these, but they're from that time period. But they use these a lot of times on the mantles for just decorative purposes.
Right.
Little mantle dogs.
But this clock is cool.
Yeah, it needs some work. But we don't mess with them too much. If you have any questions now, that's about the tour.
We're gonna test to see if the eyes follow us wherever we go. Let's see if I can keep my camera on it. Oh, yep, they do. She's still looking at me over here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've seen that before.